Hey YouTube, it's Jake here, and welcome back to tutorial number 11, I guess, for our HTML game dev series. Now in this tutorial, we're going to be starting off with making a we're going to be changing our draw jet a bit, and we're actually going to be making an object for the jet. Now if you guys don't know what an object is, basically it's something that you can reuse and create multiple instances of. So especially for our enemy jet, we don't want like a million variables in here or a million vars because that would be really bad coding skill. That'd be very bad for how you code. That's not good. But if we create an object, we can make maybe 10 variables and share them between each single enemy jet. So say you have 100 enemy jets coming at you, unlikely, but if you do, then we can basically just tell it that to share the variables. Now, we're not going to be doing the enemy jet this tutorial. We're going to be starting off with the regular jet, just so it's easier to access certain variables with it. So, to start off, what we're going to do, make a couple lines in here. And so you guys should still be at the same area with me with a couple clear things down here. Draw jet, draw background, stop drawing, start drawing, draw, and it. And let's just make sure that everything still runs good. Yep, there we go. As you can see, my jet was over there before. I was doing some playing around. For these next couple of tutorials are going to be pretty sweet, guys. We're going to be moving the jet around with the arrow keys on the keyboard. So it's going to be pretty good. Okay, to start off, we need to create an object. And the way I've done it in the past is just go function. And then instead of using lowercase to start off, and then a capital letter after or something like that, which is called camel case when you are coding. But usually objects kind of start with a capital letter, kind of like a class in regular Java. But so this is going to be our jet object. Basically, you just make it like that. And now this may seem a little confusing, but inside of here, instead of using the keywords like var and then a variable name, when we create an object, we use the keyword this. Now, when I first started coding with JavaScript, I never understood this word until I started making a game. And then it's just like a variable for the jet object. But basically, say you create 10 jets, they all share the same variable instead of making a million different variables, which would be very annoying and very bad coding skills, like I said before. Okay, so see down here how we have var source x, var source y, var draw x, var draw y, and so on. We can actually put all of these into here. So we're just going to do this dot source x. We're going to do the exact same numbers. This dot source y equals 500, I think. Yeah. This dot draw x equals, what do we have, 220? This dot draw y equals 200. This dot width, oh geez, width equals 100. And this dot height equals 40. Okay, so we've got all of these variables basically in here now, and that's exactly what we wanted. So basically, you can just go like this. Gone. We don't need those anymore because we can use them all from here. And I'll show you guys how to do that. So we created our jet function. What we need to do next is create a function. Not like this though. We need to create a prototype function. Now, prototype functions are basically functions that are shared between one object. No matter how many instances of them that you have. And it just keeps your coding down to a lower amount of lines, and it just operates a lot smoother and better, I guess. Saves a lot of power. So what we're going to do is create a prototype function. Now, to create a prototype function for an object, all you do is start off with the object name, jet. Make sure you get the capital J. It's case sensitive, so you got to be sure of that. Okay, so jet dot prototype. Now that's the key word for this pretty much, but what we're going to do next is another period and then draw. And then you do an equal sign function, 2 round brackets, and then these, and at the end of the last one you need to put a semicolon. Now I don't think this is required, but from certain articles I've read, it's very recommended, I guess, to put a semicolon at the end of this last bracket. Okay, so basically what we did, we created a new draw jet function, but all we are doing is the jet is the object, prototype is just a keyword that we need to share it, to share it, and then draw is basically the function name. So I'll show you guys what we're going to do. First of all, we're just going to steal this stuff right out of here, out of the draw jet function, and then paste it right in here. Now, I kind of skipped over the rest of this, but basically this, I think, is something like an anonymous function for this prototype function. So it's kind of confusing, but guys, if you follow along, and you'll somewhat understand it more and more the more you use it. So it's just basically a function just like this, exactly like this. It's just that it can be shared between all jets, and that's what we want, because we want to, it's a lot easier to do. And also, we don't want to just say source X or source Y. We need to say this dot source X, this dot source Y. And I'm just going to do a little quick trick here with Sublime Text Editor 2, or Sublime Text 2, whatever. If you hold down Control or Command and then click like this, basically you can type whatever you want in those same lines. Yeah, it's pretty neat. Okay, so what we just did is basically steal, we don't even need this anymore, but we stole those 2 lines out of that draw jet function and put them in here. And basically, we switched all the regular variables, source X and source Y and so on, to this dot source X, this dot source Y. That means it's going to reference these things right up here. That means we don't need to put var anything in here anymore. No more var source X or anything. It's just all sharing basically between this function and this, or this object and this function. Now, before we can test this out, I'll show you guys what it would do. We should not see a jet. Refresh. No jet. Draw jet is not defined. And now I'll show you guys why that's happening. If you can see this, that's just, it's because it's being called over and over again. So we're going to go back here. And, up in the draw function up here, since we got rid of draw jet, we can't do that anymore. What we need to do is call, before we even do this, in our init function, what we need to do is make a new line. And basically, since we created a jet object here, we need to describe it in our program so we can reference it in other places. Basically, how we do that is create a variable. Not in there, though. Just somewhere up here. Yeah, right at the top, I guess. Just do var jet1. That's good enough. Just var jet1 and a semicolon. Jet1, that's going to be our variable name, and basically we're going to turn this variable into an object, basically. And to do that, all we do is go jet1 equals new. This is the keyword to create a new object, and then we put jet because this is the name of the object function. So we do jet1 equals new jet. The reason we described var up here is because we wanted this to be available through our whole program, and if we put var in here, it would only allow it to do stuff in this little function. That's useless, so that's why we have it like this. Now, we just described a new variable, jet1 equals new jet. Now, just like we created this function down here, jet.draw, we can't just go jet.draw. We need to use the variable name that we just created. So remember before we had draw jet in here? Now we can do jet1, because their variable name, dot draw. It's that simple, guys. This draw right here, this is referencing this draw function right here. And the reason we put jet1 period in front of it is because that is our variable name for our jet object, basically. It's the first instance that we created of our jet object. and that's why we reference Jet1 here. Basically, we're telling Jet1 to draw. And if we save this and go back to here and press refresh, there's our jet right there. And that's pretty sweet. So it's perfect so far. It's working really good. So that's it for this tutorial, guys. I'm gonna put these files on my Minus profile before I forget, before I do the next tutorial. So stay tuned for number 12, and in the next one, I think we will actually get on to moving the jet with the keyboard and the arrow keys. So see you guys next time. Thanks.